overthinking. I think we need more thinking.
I remember at the end of last season, so many trolls saying that he needs to be traded and that Jokic needs an all-star to play with. And now we have Murray getting named an all-star. So he is now playing with an all-star. There are now 2 all-stars on this team, and you didn't have to trade for him.
Let's try to get healthy. Let's stay together. And if we can do that, we put ourselves in a good situation.
And over the shoulder, no looker.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. So we got some good news today, and we got some bad news. First of all, gonna go with the good news just to kind of get it started, because it's kind of what happened before the bad news anyways. So if you haven't heard already, the good news is JamALL was finally named an all-star today. Awesome news. I mean, if you have been watching the Nuggets, if you are a fan of Jamal Murray, you just know that you are happy for him, you know? All the work that he does every single season, every trial and tribulation that he's gone through, the ACL, being out 2 seasons because of that. I mean, and yes, he has had some kind of sluggish seasons in the past, but this season he really came out with a noticeable better season. This is a career high season that he's going through right now, and his best season, I would say, of all time for him so far. And to see him get named All-Star is just amazing. And also the fact that I remember at the end of last season, so many trolls or so many Nuggets fans who were just, I don't know, yelling from the top of their troll tower or whatever, just like venting or whatever you want to call it, just saying that he needs to be traded and that Jokic needs an all-star to play with. And I, from the start, was telling everyone, you don't need an all-star to play with Jokic. Jokic is the all-star who makes everyone else better. And now we have Murray getting named an all-star. So he is now playing with an all-star. There are now 2 all-stars on this team. And you didn't have to trade for him. They both are raised through the Nuggets drafting, right? And you have neither one of them have left and come back or anything. They have been career Nuggets so far, and hopefully they stay career Nuggets. Both of them, I want them to retire as Nuggets. But this is just great news. This is really good news. And I'm so happy for Jamal Murray. He really worked his ass off for this. So hats off to Jamal. I want to also call out, so this is the all-stars that were called out today. So for the Eastern Conference, we have Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Johnson, Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell, Scotty Barnes, and Jalen Duren. Out of those, there is some debate whether or not a player from a bottom team should make it into the All-Star. We've seen Scotty Barnes get into the All-Star as a bottom team before. Now Pascal Siakam has been accepted as one of the worst teams in the league right now, and yet he's getting accepted. I kind of feel like there was some snubs that shouldn't have happened, and the snubs only are a thing if you accept the fact that someone from a bottom team got accepted. So if we are living in that world, which we are, then there are other players who are in bottom teams who definitely got snubbed. Case in point, for this specific Eastern Conference, I would say Michael Porter Jr. got snubbed. I think he deserved to be up there more than Norman Powell does. Or Jalen Johnson, to be honest. And I know both of them have had a great season, especially Norman Powell. Norman Powell had a breakout season last season, and he's still playing hot. But Michael Porter Jr. has just on another level, like averaging 29 points a game, having like even with like triple doubles involved and everything. Like the guy just is really having a great season, despite the fact he's on the Nets, who are tanking right now. But I just think that he deserved to have been accepted as well to his first All-Star game. And so then we have the Western Conference. So in the Western Conference, we have Anthony Edwards. Obviously, Ant was going to be involved. We have Jamal Murray. Let's go Blue Arrow. We have Chet Holmgren, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Denny Avdia, and LeBron James. I feel like Kevin Durant and LeBron James were fixed. I'm just going to say that. They were fixed. I know that they were not going to have an all-star game without those two players. Even if they were not voted high, you could have no fans voting for either of those two players, which I know that's never going to happen, but you could have fans not vote for either of those players and they would still be in the game. Especially LeBron. I mean, he didn't even play that amount of games. He should not be eligible for an all-star, and yet here he is because he's LeBron James. And I guess it's to the fact that it might be his last one, but he didn't even play last game, remember? Last season, All-Star break, he didn't even play. I was there, and I was hoping to see him, because I've never seen him at a game before, and that's why I was hoping to see him, and then he wasn't even there to practice. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. And then we also have Devin Booker, right? Devin Booker, I think, earned it, regardless of him being an all-star several seasons now. I think he has really carried the Suns along with Dillon Brooks. I think Dillon Brooks has a case to be an all-star this season. But I would say the biggest snub of the Western Conference is from Lauri Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen got snubbed big time. He should be an all-star for the Western Conference, not Chet Holmgren. I do not think Chet Holmgren deserves to be an all-star. I don't think that he is the player that everyone claims that he is. He is not impressive. He is just a complaining bag of bones, and I can't stand him. So I think that's a little bit biased that he got involved, because clearly there's some kind of money involved with the OKC thing and everything. I think it's corrupt. So, but Chet Holmgren should not be in there. Lauri Markkanen 100% should be in there. And if you don't put him in there, I would say Derek Queen. He's not he's a rookie. You've had work like Victor Wembanyama was a rookie in the All-Star game his rookie year. I think you could easily put Derek Queen in there. I think you could also put Cooper Flagg in there. I think you could also, you'll see here, trying to think of the other players. I mean, I am gonna go against my Nuggets belief, but if you look at the Clippers, Harden and Kawhi Leonard both are more deserving than that spot that Chet Holmgren has. I just really don't. And also the fact that Şengün got snubbed too. I know there's a lot of people upset about that, and I would be there right with you, because I would think that Şengün earned it more than Holmgren did. And even Vassell on the Spurs, I would take Vassell over Chet Holmgren. I just am not a Chet Holmgren fan. I know there's a little bit of bias there, but I also just am not impressed with him. I think that he should, sit out this one. And I'm sure Jalen Williams, J-Dub, did not get accepted into the All-Star lineup because he missed time. And yet LeBron James missed just as much time as J-Dub did, and yet he's in it. Again, it's the name LeBron James. You can't apparently have an all-star. Like, what are you going to do when he retires? Are they still going to get him into the game? That is just ridiculous. We're done with LeBron James, okay? He is fading away. We have better, newer players. Let's move on from LeBron James. Like, we need to take this step quickly. Like, let's go. And so that's all I'll say about that. But that's your reserve lineup for the All-Stars. So it's awesome that Jokic and Jamal would be playing on the same team, with Jamal being Canadian, Jokic being Serbian, and then they'll be on the same team as Victor Wembanyama and some of the other guys there. Giannis is not going to be playing because he is injured. We will see. And I'm just really happy for Jamal. He has always said that if he was an all-star, he would play hard, and that is just something that the all-star game has been lacking. If you haven't followed me that long, or if you didn't know, last year I went to the all-star pregame to watch, and it was very underwhelming. I was not impressed with it at all. It was pretty much a waste of money and time, but I still wanted to go to check it out. And then from what I saw on TV too, I was kind of glad I didn't go to the game or anything. And so there has been that kind of grit and like competition involved, that competitiveness involved in the All-Star. It's kind of just like fanfare or whatever, it's just kind of like giving awards to millionaires for pretty much just running for cardio, essentially, right? And so the All-Star has definitely had issues. But Jamal Murray has said he will play hard. And he kind of caveated it today at the end of the game, saying that as long as everyone else plays hard, he will play hard, which I kind of get. The only thing is, as much as I'm happy that Jokic finally has an all-star teammate, the unfortunate thing is that Jokic is one of the key players, or the transgressors of not playing hard during the All-Star game. And so it's just kind of ironic, And it's also ironic that finally, when Jamal really needs a break because he's been carrying the load of the team for so long, he gets named All-Star and is going to be playing now instead of having a break. Which, again, I'll say it again, maybe it's good for him because he does tend to play better when he doesn't have a break. I just hope that it helps him stay healthy. So hopefully this works out, and hopefully this will be really good for him. And I'm really happy that he got called to be an All-Star. So congrats, Jamal. Now, tonight, we had the Nuggets and OKC for the first time this season in the biggest game of the season, I would say, so far. And it felt like it was the biggest game of the season so far until it wasn't. And the first time of the season quickly became the mantra after this game, if you don't know already what happened. So the injury list going into this game, AG, CB, Cam are still out. They are hopeful, or at least CB and Cam are hopeful to come back this month. So that is some silver lining here, some ray of sunshine peeking through those dark clouds there. Jamal and Jokic were questionable, but they would be upgraded to available. And so your starting lineup was Jamal Murray, JamALL-STAR, let's go, Jalen Pickett, Peyton Watson, Spencer Jones, and Jokic. They were in their mile-high jerseys with the OKC in their orange jerseys. And dang it, OKC won. They got the dub. 121 to 111. Good for you, OKC. Good for you. So annoying, But I will say, as annoying as OKC is, this game was not peak annoying. It was annoying. Don't get me wrong. It was 100% annoying to see OKC playing the way that they play and getting away with a lot of the stuff that they were playing. But it definitely felt different. And I think that has a lot to do with Chris Finch and the Timberwolves, the Spurs, and the Hornets. I think all three of those teams have kind of altered a smidge of how OKC is reffed. So it didn't feel as annoying as it typically is. Like the game with OKC and the Spurs for the Cup, that was so infuriating, annoying. And I was so glad that they lost that game. But we have now this game, and it just didn't feel as frustrating. It definitely, like, it kind of felt like at one point that the Nuggets were going to lose, and you just kind of accepted it a little bit, you know? So what happened in this game? Well, OKC won the tip, and they missed their first chance. And on the other end, P-Watt gets blocked, so it goes back, and then Wallace hits a 3 for the first bucket of the game, which kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, really. That perimeter shooting. And if I have harped on one thing in my podcast, it's the lack of defense for the perimeter that the Nuggets have. They've had this issue for several years now, and they just have no urgency to fix it. And teams like OKC are making them pay for it. And so we had a case in point here. And then on the other end, Pickett, with a bounce layup, gets the Nuggets on the board. Wallace then hits another 3 to build OKC's lead to 4. And then P-Watt sinks a 3 to make it a 1-point game. And P-Watt was phenomenal tonight. He was extra special. It was just crazy to watch him light up the court, and he had a fire in him. He had a vendetta that he wanted to revenge. Like, it felt like he remembered last the 7-game series. And it seemed like the rest of the team kind of forgot about it, or they didn't care about it as much, because it looked like Peyton Watson was the only one who cared tonight. So he gets it to a 1-point game, and then Chet draws the first foul of the game. Go figure that the OKC Thunder would draw the first foul of the game. Weak. So weak. But right on script. So, and it had to be Chet. The best thing, though, is that after that, Peyton Watson responds by posterizing Chet. Let's freaking go. Loved it. Like, this was not a horrible game to watch. There was a lot of good things involved in this game. One thing specifically was that poster. Just to see Peyton Watson obliterate that bag of bones. And he looked so bothered by it too. Ed loved it. Anytime someone posterized Chet, I'm just all for it. I cannot stand that dude. He does not deserve to be an all-star. I'll say it again. Does not deserve to be an all-star. Get him out of here. And so then a crazy defensive play with Spencer Jones as he's battling for the rebound on the defensive end. He gets the rebound, but then as he's falling down, he tries to bounce it to Big Val, ends up kicking it to Ketridge Williams, who puts it up, plus gets fouled, gets OKC an 8-point lead now. P-Watt, from this, again, like I'm telling you, he was on another level. He responds with another 3, forcing OKC to take a timeout. Like, it really felt like Peyton Watson was the only one really wanting to play tonight. Nuggets having a really good defensive stand, but still not able to collect rebounds. The rebounds was a really big issue tonight. OKC outscored the Nuggets 32-26 in the first quarter. Second quarter, Nuggets start the quarter off with a lineup of Spencer Jones, Tim Hardaway Jr., Brucey B., Strother, and Big Val. As on the offensive rebound, Bruce is fouled, goes to the line, makes 1 of 2 for the first points of the quarter, and then Ketridge Williams with a steal on Bruce into a layup for the first field goal of the game or the quarter. Nuggets just get really overwhelmed by OKC as the lead builds to 10 from steals and made threes. Again, they just kept on raining threes, and a lot of it came from Cason Wallace. He was unstoppable beyond the arc, and it's been an issue. Like any team with good shooters, good three-point shooters, have been very successful against the defense of the Nuggets because they just do not defend the perimeter very well. Out of the timeout, Murray double-teamed, kicks it to Big Val, who gets fouled, laying it in with no call. There was a big thing, too. Like, he literally gets mauled. His hands were all slapped in the arm and everything. There was no ball. It was all, like, Big Val that was getting slapped. No call. And then Murray gets by Chet to lay it in and chips the lead down to 9 before Isaiah Joe hits another 3, gets the lead to 12. OKC also gets OKC to first to 50, and then back-to-back threes from Strother and Murray chips the lead down to 10. And Strother on the rebound collides with Chet. This was another play. So him and Chet are both going for the rebound. They collide with one another. Chet, because this is my thing with OKC, okay? If you are an OKC fan, you have to understand this frustration with how your team plays the game. OKC's style of play is to constantly foul, because if you foul so much, the refs are not going to be able to call every single foul. And that's exactly what they do. And then on the other side of it too, they flop, because they know that when they flop, they're not going to get called a tech for flopping. They're going to get the call most times than not. And that's the most frustrating thing about whenever OKC plays. And so here you had Chet flopping on his own friend, draws the offensive foul, which then forces David Adelman to challenge, which then becomes successful because, of course, neither player touched the ball. They were both going for the ball, and it was just incidental contact. And yet the refs are so used to giving the call to the one who flops, which is typically the Thunder, the Dust Bunnies. And so Adelman basically has to waste a challenge on that. Still, Nuggets get the ball, but they aren't able to convert the points. Then on the rebound, Peyton Watson gets fouled, gets Nuggets into the bonus, and as he goes to the line, makes 1 of 2 on the rebound. On the second one that he misses, Jokic gets fouled, and he goes to the line, makes both. So it's a very unconventional approach to making a 3-point play, but that's what the Nuggets did. I'm all for it as long as you get the most amount of points possible to combat what the OKC was doing. And then out of that, Wallace hits a 3 to end the quarter. Because, of course, he was really good tonight. He was unstoppable from beyond the arc. And so he ends the quarter. OKC outscores the Nuggets again, 30-29. They only outscored us by 1, and they take a 62-55 lead into the half. Third quarter, Nuggets start off with their starters as immediately Jokic sinks a 2 for the first free throw first field goal of the quarter. And then immediately Nuggets go sloppy. So he sinks the first bucket of the quarter, and then immediately, like, you start to think that maybe the Nuggets are going to have a good offensive quarter. No. Immediately Nuggets go sloppy from the offensive quarter, and they start losing the handles. They start breaking the shots, and luckily they're still staying relatively good defensive-wise, but just that perimeter defense is not good. And so P-Watt sparks a little bit of life from the Nuggets, with back-to-back plays, ending with an assist to Pickett for 3, cuts the lead down to 4. Nuggets continue to leave Cason Wallace open, who hits nonstop threes, builds the lead back to 9. Like, I don't know why they left him wide open. Like, I get that he's having a worse season right now from shooting percentage-wise, but with that team, you cannot leave them open, especially against the Nuggets. And the Nuggets just generate a better quality of game from their opponent, it seems like. Like no one else plays as sloppy against us when they're playing us. And so you can't leave him open. The one person I would say you could leave open from 3 is periodically Lou Dort. He's not the best shooting 3-point shooter, but he does make them at times. And then I would also, if Isaiah Hartenstein would ever to throw a 3, but he doesn't. And I think there's been like 1 or 2 times, but he would be someone that I would leave open for 3. But other than that, I wouldn't leave Cason Wallace open for 3. If I remember correctly, if my memory serves me correct, in that 7-game series, Cason Wallace was one of the players who was killing the Nuggets. You can't leave him open for 3. Nuggets did. So, and that lead goes to 9. And then SGA hits another 3, followed by Wiggins for 3. Grows that lead to 12 on a 12-0 run. Grows it to 12. And then the Nuggets can't contain the perimeter. They couldn't, as OKC just continues to hit 3s with ease. Nuggets slowed down and allow OKC to hit more easy buckets as Williams gets OKC first to 100 with an easy floater. And then OKC destroys the Nuggets with 39-30, outscoring them in that third quarter. Fourth quarter, Nuggets start off with a lineup of Jokic, Strother, Tim Hardaway Jr., Brucey B, and Spencer Jones. Yeah, Jokic started the quarter. That was kind of odd. I didn't expect him to start the quarter, but, Edelman was kind of getting desperate. And first thing out of there, Chet puts up a brick for 3. On the other end, though, Tim Hardaway Jr. responds with a brick. And it becomes a brick fest. Each team starts bricking at the start of the game, or at the start of the quarter. And then Cason Wallace, of course it's Cason Wallace, drives to the rim for a layup, plus the foul for the first bucket of the quarter. Misses the free throw, luckily. Finally, P-Watt hits a much-needed 3 to cut the lead to 14. And then OKC continues to make the Nuggets pay with steals. It was getting annoying how many times they were stealing. Like, they just know how to disrupt the Nuggets, and that's one of the other things that's really frustrating about that team. But they really know how to disrupt them, and they know how to get into Jokic's head. I was noticing that. Jokic was getting very frustrated, and he was getting frustrated during the 7-game series. No other team gets underneath Jokic's skin. He is as chill as a cucumber whenever he plays any other team. But when it's OKC, he starts overthinking things, and he starts to try to flop, and he starts to, try to go at OKC in a different way that they should not be going at. The thing that I thought that they should have really done was rip a page out of the playbook that was so successful for the T-Wolves, the Spurs, and the Hornets. Those 3 teams played exceptionally against Thunder, and they all use plays from each other, essentially. I don't know why Adelman and the coaching staff of the Nuggets did not review those games and take the exact same play styles from them. He thought naively that he was going to be able to beat the 1 seed by the typical style of play that the Nuggets play, and I don't understand why he didn't just go into more of a defensive approach. So they get stolen a lot. They couldn't control the balls, and so the Nuggets waved the white flag at the 3-minute mark. Reserves come in. The lead's blown to, I think, 20. It was at like 20 or something like that. And oddly enough, the reserves chipped that down. They chipped it down, and they actually were able to chip down the bloated lead to outscoring the OKC 26-20. So Nuggets got 1 quarter where they outscored the Dust Bunnies, but it still wasn't enough because OKC took the match, and again, final score 112. Or 121 to 111. This was a disappointing game from the Nuggets. When the national spotlight was on them at home, coming off of a great win against the Clippers, even with Jokic coming back, the Nuggets also saying that they were very excited for this game, but once again, OKC out-hustled them. and made them look like they were the visiting team rather than OKC being the visiting team. And it's not the first time that this has happened during a matchup with these two teams. JamALL just getting accepted as an all-star only to put up 12 points, and then Jokic with 16. It felt like every Nugget tonight out there was not playing, with the exceptional of P-Watt, who was putting up 29. This loss is tough. I gotta admit, it's very tough. But the one takeaway from it that I would urge Nuggets fans to accept is that this is the first matchup for the season of these two teams. They will meet up 3 more times this season. Yes, it would have been nice to have gotten the first win against them while at home, but it doesn't mean that the Nuggets are any less of a team than they were before this game started. And I expect that they are going to play harder next time. So let's get into the stats here, but real quick, let me know in the comments what you think. But I kind of chalk this up to it's one game. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the season. Yes, they punked us, but if there's one thing that I know about the Nuggets, anytime that they get punked, they will not get punked again. At least this season. So let's get into these stats here before we close things out. Spencer Jones played 27 minutes tonight, and I do not believe he should have played 27 minutes tonight. I am going to say that I actually thought Zeke Naji should have played more minutes. Crazy thing for someone like me to say, I know. I have been a very anti-Zeke Naji truther or whatever, but I will say as long as he's a Nugget, I'm going to wish him well, and I hope that he plays well every single time he is with the Nuggets. And I also just think that he needs to get traded because I think that it will benefit him better as a player to be in a different scenario. But with that said, I do think that he does bring a good level of defense to the game. And I think he should have been playing more than Spencer Jones, because Spencer Jones, as you know, if you have watched any game from this season, he is very prone to getting fouled. And so if you are prone to fouling, the one thing you do not want to put him in defending against is against SGA. And that's exactly what Adelman did. I love how good of a coach Adelman has been this season, and he has had some duds this season. Don't get me wrong, he has had some duds. Tonight was definitely a dud. Putting Spencer Jones and being so stubborn to thinking that Spencer Jones could change his style of play during the game, I would not have put him on SGA. Not someone that inexperienced. You have to put an experienced level player on SGA. Typically, they would have been AG. I get it. They would have been AG or it would have been CB. Unfortunately, those two guys are out. So next one up, I would have probably not put him on there, but maybe a P-Watt or a Zeke Naji or Brucey B, even Tim Hardaway Jr. Like any one of those players would have been a better choice than Spencer Jones. Yet Spencer Jones still got 27 minutes. And offensively, he was doing good, but he could have done better. So he racked up 6 points. He had 2 rebounds, 1 steal. He was 2 for 2 from field. That's where I'm saying he actually did shoot really well, but he stopped shooting. I don't know why he didn't shoot more. He didn't miss a shot all game. I know that was just 2 shots, but come on now. You made 2 shots. Why don't you make another one? At least attempt it. Everyone else was bricking. Why not? And so I think there's just a lot of things that were off about the Nuggets tonight. He was also 2 for 2 from 3. And then he had 1 turnover, 5 personal fouls. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. He had 5 personal fouls. Guess who they were all against? SGA. Yep. I bet you didn't even have to guess on that one. But they were all against SGA. He was a minus 22. He was the worst plus minus of any Nugget tonight. Peyton Watson, I would have gladly have made a stat card for him had the Nuggets won tonight, because he put up a masterclass of a stat card here. So he played the most amount of minutes of any Nugget tonight with 37 minutes, and he put up 29 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He was 11 for 17 from field, a 64% shooting, 5 for 7 from 3, 71% shooting. 2 for 4 from free throws. He did miss some, unfortunately, like groaning kind of free throws there. He had 4 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a -9. Jokic played more minutes than I thought that he should have. As I said before, I thought that he should, because last time he only played 24 minutes in the Clippers game, right? He should have played tonight maybe 27. But I know that him and Adelman are both, they do want to win against OKC. And so I'm guessing that Jokic said, no, I'm going in. And so he played 29 minutes tonight. In his 29 minutes, he only put up 16 points. So a very low game from our MV3. 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal. He was 6 for 9 from field, 1 for 2 from 3, 3 for 4 from free throws. He had 6 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, was a -7. Jalen Pickett, who had a better game than last time, I will say, he played 18 minutes. Some of those minutes were garbage minutes at the end when they waved the white flag. They were like, okay, Adam was like, Pickett, you need to continue to go out there. But he played 18 minutes, made 7 points this time. So it's better than 0. 7 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He was 3 for 3 from field, 1 for 1 from free throw. So again, should be shooting more if that's the case. He had 1 turnover, 0 personal fouls, was a -9 as well. And then Jamal Murray in his All-Star, it should have been his night. This really should have been his night. After getting named All-Star, he should have had an All-Star level playing. Like, I wanted him to have the 29 points. I love P. Watt. I'm glad that he got 29 points. I wanted Jamal to have that 29 points. I wanted him to have 35 points or 50 points, you know. Just have a really good game. And he still got a double-double. He was the only player who got a double-double tonight in his 35 minutes. He had 12 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists. So where he wasn't having the ball drop, because the ball was not dropping for him, let's be honest about that one real quick. But where the ball was not dropping, he was trying to find the open man who could drop the ball. And so 1 steal, 1 block. He was 4 for 16 from field. 25%, 1 for 8 from 3, 12%, 3 for 4 from free throws. He even put up a brick in the free throws. 1 turnover, 1 personal foul, was a -13. Bench wise, I don't think they need to be shouted out tonight, except for that I will say that a lot of people were upset with Big Val. I think Big Val was actually one of the better bench players tonight. He was exactly what the Nuggets needed, to be aggressive, to grab those rebounds, because you need to be aggressive when Isaiah Hartenstein is mauling you up and down the court, or Lou Dort and everything. And so I'm glad that he was in there, and he did rack up 13 points. He had 3 rebounds. I would have liked to have seen him get more rebounds. He had 2 assists, one block. So, you know, he did have some impact on it, but and then Strother, who should have been out there more, because I think Strother plays very well against OKC, and he was playing well, but he didn't get enough minutes either. He played 22 minutes tonight, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 awesome steals, to be honest. He was a +7. Was it +7? +2, sorry, +2. Deron Holmes was a +7. That's only in the garbage minutes there where the reserves actually chipped down that lead, because the lead again was supposed to be 20 and they chipped it down to 10. So bravo to the reserves. So in our overall stats, we had 39 rebounds to their 39. So we tied in rebounds, actually. We had 29 assists to their 23. So we out-assisted them. We out-assisted them and out-rebounded them. And just, if the ball would have dropped more, the Nuggets probably would have won this game. It's really unfortunate because Tim Hardaway Jr. had 0 for 4 from 3 tonight. He also had 0 for 6. The only points that Tim Hardaway Jr. made tonight were from the free throw line. We had 9 steals to their 12. We had 4 blocks to their 6. We shot 49% from field. They shot 47%. So we actually did shoot a little bit better from field than they did. But we put up 79 shots and they put up 85. So even there, that also shows that they had more chances, that they kept on getting the offensive rebounds and the second chance points and everything, which has been a constant issue with the Nuggets lately. And so then we shot from 45% from 3. They shot 39%. We shot 70% from free throws. They shot 81%. And then we had 17 turnovers. They had 13. And we had 20 personal fouls. They had 21. Sometimes that happens, and that's why I'm not as bent up about this. I'm disappointed. Obviously, I'm disappointed. They should have won at home. It's frustrating that the Nuggets are not as dominating at home. But I'm also going to say this. I think that Nuggets fans in Ball Arena are dropping the ball. They do not come out with enough energy consistently throughout the game. They only play hard, or they only shout hard and make things loud and difficult to play in when the Nuggets are doing well. Nuggets fans do not just they stop. They stop. The energy just drops as soon as the other team gets the advantage. And I would just urge Nuggets fans, when you go to Ball Arena, to keep that energy going. If you go, it's on my bucket list to go to Serbia to see one of the basketball games there. But if you haven't seen a Serbian game, check it out online. They are on another level. They stomp the ground so hard you feel the impacts of the entire stadium moving. They are chanting and it is another environment. And I wish that they would bring that to Ball Arena. We need that kind of level of energy. So I really was disappointed with how quickly the Nuggets fans gave up in this. I was really hoping that they would continue to make things difficult, because if we expect the Ball Arena to be one of the most difficult arenas to play in, then we got to keep that title by making it difficult, Anyways, so with that, let's look at the standings here. So with that win and that loss, that obviously brings San Antonio back into second place. We're back into third place, and we are now a game and a half ahead of Houston, who is in fourth place. San Antonio is now a half a game ahead of us, and they didn't even play tonight. But luckily, the Lakers did lose tonight. So we are now 6 games behind OKC when we could have been like 4 games. Oh, well. Whatever, I'm over it. So with this, let's see, tomorrow, man, the Spurs got such an easy schedule. I'm so over it, man. They played Saturday. They played yesterday and they lost. And then here we are. I'm looking, yes, they're not playing tomorrow. They're not playing Tuesday when we're playing against the Pistons. No, they're playing on Wednesday against the Thunder. They're playing Wednesday against the Thunder. They have a 3-day break. What are we doing, NBA? Why are you hating the Nuggets so much that you give them such a horrible freaking schedule on January and February, and you give the Spurs such an easy schedule? It's so easy. And the same thing with OKC and the Lakers. They all have super easy schedules, and yet the Nuggets are like every other day is a Nuggets game. It's so frustrating. NBA, you are so biased against the Nuggets. It's obvious. It's just, I try to keep things positive, but man, when I look at that schedule keeps me heated. I can't stand it. It's so like a trigger for me, if you can tell. But so our next game, like I said, is on Tuesday. And we actually have a back-to-back. So we go to Detroit to play the Pistons. Wednesday we go to New York to play the Knicks. Luckily, the Knicks will also be on the second end of a back-to-back, but it's going to be a little easier for them because they're going to be playing the Wizards. They're in Washington to play the Wizards, and then they come back to play us in Madison Square Garden. So that's a much easier back-to-back. That's a back-to-back that I would rather have, because we're going to be playing the number 1 seed again in the East, and then the number 2 seed in the East. Whatever. And then we face the Chicago Bulls on Saturday. A little bit of a break, but I mean, they're not going to, it's not like a really worthy break. They're going to be traveling, and who knows about weather conditions and everything. So we'll see. But I would just say that you can't get swept by any of these teams. You have to go 3 for 3 in this road trip. You can't get swept by the Pistons. You can't get swept by the Knicks. Although the Knicks, this is their first time that we're facing the Knicks. And as much as I love the Knicks, I want the Nuggets to beat them. They've been swept by them and dominated by them for a couple of seasons now. So I would love for the Nuggets to win against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And then you can't get swept by the Bulls. This is our second and last time facing the Bulls this season. You can't lose that game. But if I guess you lose one game, maybe it's the Knicks, at least you even up the matchups with the Pistons and the Bulls, and you take that loss against the Knicks, and then you beat them when they come to Ball Arena. Hopefully, something like that. I don't know, but. That's pretty much all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Share it out to your friends and family. And if you do feel gracious enough to give me a donation, I would appreciate it. My PayPal link is in the description below, as well as on the profile page. You can tack on a comment or a take of this game, of any players in this game, of this team or any other team, or of, another sport if you want to. I know we're going into the Super Bowl. If you want to talk about Super Bowl, we can talk about Super Bowl. Or if you want to talk about NHL and talk about how good the Avs are, let's go Avs. Or if you want to talk about movies, since the Oscars are on their way. We just had the Grammys, so if you want to talk about the Grammys, we can talk about that too. So if you drop a comment in, I'll shout you out on the next episode. But you've been listening to CS 105.1, where I talk about the Nuggets with good vibes. We'll catch you later.